May I come in, sir?
Yes, come.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Harshit.
Yes, sir.
Have a seat, Harshit.
Thank you, sir.
So, Harshit, you are from Rohtak,
Yes, sir.
the heartland of Haryana,
Yes, sir.
and your optional is mathematics.
Yes, sir.
And your graduation is computer science and engineering. Sports, playing badminton, TT, cycling, singing, feeding stray dogs. These are all your
Yes, sir.
activities and hobbies. So, one question which comes to my mind, which is something which we have been seeing in the last few years, particularly happening, that there is a kind of a contradiction in terms. Haryana is very good in terms of development, you see, contributing to the national food grain,
Sir.
and huge infrastructure which is there. On the other hand, one is too much dependence on the Babas, worshipping the Babas, blindly following the Babas. And second is in terms of the women folk, you know, and less the sex ratio getting adverse, though they claim now that they have improved, but still it is still not the level one would like it to be. And then there are khap panchayats who do not allow marriages within the same gotra. So this contradiction, don't you think, and how do you explain this contradiction?
Sir, the economic development part, why Haryana is good is some of the reasons are its proximity to the NCR. Some of the districts are included in the NCR region, and the proximity to Delhi. So investments, especially foreign FDIs, have come. And sir, on the social front, the patriarchy, which has been historically entrenched in the society, is the cause for sex ratio, poor sex ratio, sir. And sir, the culture of Babas, the blind faith that there is, there are both socio-religious reasons for that, sir, and as well as historical reasons. And so, especially the Babas who have created infrastructure, like the Gurmeet Ram Rahim Singh case,
Yes.
those become successful in garnering more support.
Yes. So why? I mean, why people are progressive, very progressive, and yet they are having they have superstitions.
Yes, sir.
And so these two things don't match.
Yes, sir. The superstition front, I think, sir, in general, when things go out of control of humans, some people tend towards superstition. But I'm not sure of the exact reason why it's more prevalent in Haryana, sir.
Okay. So, what are real numbers and what are imaginary numbers?
So, real numbers are the set of rational plus irrational numbers, and imaginary numbers actually is a kind of misnomer, because actually they are quite imaginable, and plus it's just a two-dimensional extension of the real numbers. So they are also called complex numbers, the imaginary numbers, but actually it's just like the normal numbers we have 1, 2, 3, a single digit or a single unit. In imaginary numbers we have a set of digits, and that's all, like a two-dimensional extension, sir.
Okay. So, how do you define algebra?
So I'm not sure of the definition as such, but there are various fields. So as per field, I think definition can vary, like the analytic algebra, and but sir, on the definition, I'm not very sure, sir. Sorry.
Okay. Tell me, what is the difference between a very, very ordinary, mundane thing, rhombus,
Yes, sir.
parallelogram, trapezium? What's the difference?
So a rhombus is a quadrilateral which has all four sides equal, and the opposite sides are parallel. And a parallelogram is again a quadrilateral in which opposite sides are just parallel and opposite sides are equal, but not all four sides are equal. So a rhombus is also a parallelogram, but not vice versa. And in trapeziums, two opposite sides, a pair of opposite sides is parallel, and that's the only property of representation.
Okay. Now, sports. Haryana is doing quite well in sports,
Yes, sir.
particularly the women folk. Huh?
Yes, sir.
So, why is it that such a small state has made such a great progress, whereas the big states are lagging behind in terms of sports? What is that extra thing which, spark which is there, so that in wrestling and boxing we are doing so well?
So, like there's historical reason also is there, sir, and sir, the culture of Haryana is like the agriculture. It's an agriculture-based economy, so physical power is given importance in society, and so sir, that physical power also translates into wrestling, and that has created the culture of wrestling good in Haryana, and so. Like the generational transfer of this talent is also there. For example, in Dangal movie, we saw the father passing on the skill of wrestling to daughters. And so the presence of good sports infrastructure like wrestling, we have akhadas in almost every village. So that also gives boost to such things.
What is the singing while listening to
Music.
music?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I mean, is it it's a bathroom singing or what exactly?
So recreational and relaxing singing. So after my studies, I just.
So does it help in any way towards your study?
Yes, sir. Mental relaxation.
Mental
sir.
relaxation while studying, it helps you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why do you feed stray dogs? Does it cuts both ways, pros and cons.
Yes, sir.
So
So mainly it's out of my compassion, sir, and sir, like it's also a self-satisfaction kind of thing for me rather than more of a helping the dogs kind of argument. So if I see a hungry dog in front of me, or for that matter any hungry living being, and I feel I can extinguish their hunger, it's important to me to do that thing, to have that mental satisfaction in my mind, because if I don't do that, there will be a lingering dilemma in my mind.
So you will also have the same compassion when you will be a civil servant for the other human beings or not?
Yes, sir. Fully, sir.
Excellent.
There was a suggestion given by the Prime Minister some time back about having one election, one common elections for all the states,
Yes,
and
sir.
even general elections. One nation, one election was the
Yes, sir.
slogan given by him. What is your take on that?
So I think there are both pros and cons, but in conclusion, sir, I'm not favor of one nation, one election, sir.
Why?
Because the reduction of accountability that happens, because if we have a nation, one election, that prevents politicians from being present on their toes. So the frequent elections keep the politicians on their toes and keeps them accountable to people, and I think that boosts their performance, and also can help in reduction of corruption, and like infrastructure development would be better. Decentralized also, sir, because since elections happen in various states at different times, so each state would get an opportunity to get a focus.
You want the status quo to continue?
Yes,
As it
sir.
is happening today, let it continue.
Yes, sir.
Few days back, the Election Commission made a suggestion about remote voting.
Yes, sir.
Do you support this idea?
The idea, yes, sir, I support, but yes, there are very challenges also. And should I mention them, sir?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. So there will be administrative and logistical challenges, sir, like where the booths should be set up for remote voting, because the current idea is that Election Commission would decide some constituencies in the remote constituencies where it will set up physical booths. So, but obviously it will not be able to capture all the migrant population of the home state. So that is one challenge, sir. And the integrity of election process, maintaining that integrity is also like people question that whether the remote voting can be hacked or something. So those issues are there, sir. But I think to enable the migrant people also to exercise their right to vote, I think is a good idea, sir.
So there is a possibility of tempering the system. You mean to say that voting machine?
Yes, there are accusations, allegations leveled that they might be tampered, but there are no proof of it, sir.
Okay. A spy was arrested yesterday.
Sorry, sir. Spy.
A spy, Indian was
Spy. Okay. Sir.
an Indian employee of the Ministry of Finance or Defense. He was arrested yesterday by the IB for passing on secrets to a foreign country. Are you aware of that?
No, sir. Sorry.
Which act attracts that offense?
The sorry, sir. The selling of national secrets in the traitor offense, sir. So I think. So I'm not sure, sir. Sorry.
There is something called Official Secrets Act.
Yes, sir.
And national
Yes.
security also is okay. The image of police in our country in general is very bad. People are always scared of going to police station, and they are not in a position to get their FIR registered. Only after greasing the palm of the police officers, duty officers, they can get it done. What is the reason for this, and what is the way forward?
So reasons can be like lack of proper supervision of officers and the police stations, that whether the complaints are being heard properly or not, and the reluctance of people in filing complaints is also there due to social reasons, sir. The defamation, sometimes defamation happens. So and so poor infrastructure of police, sir, the police station. And so way forward, I think, sir, like the online filing of police complaints can be a solution, and better 360-degree appraisal of police officers and supervision, sir.
Is the motive of the police suspect? I mean, they want to show that the crime rate in their city is very low. There is no crime. Is that the intention?
Yes, sir. There's also that reason also, sir.
Will fitting CCTV in the police stations help?
Yes, sir. It will help in supervision of officers, sir.
One last question. What is infinity?
So it is something that our mind cannot capture. It's hard to define, sir,
Infinity
because
has no value.
Yes, sir, it's not defined by default.
What is pi?
Pi?
What is the value of pi?
So approximately it's 22/7, which is 3.1416.
Is it of any use?
Yes, sir. In mathematics, it's quite crucial, and like this circles in geometry. So
Thank you.
Well, both parents are doctors, right?
yes, sir.
So there's a general belief that doctors have become businessmen like anyone else.
Yes, sir. In some cases,
That's a belief.
yes.
Having observed your parents, would you put them in that category of doctors that who are less and businessmen more?
No, sir.
Why?
So
What philanthropic initiatives have they undertaken?
yes, sir. So my mother actually sometimes do free deliveries if she feels that the patient is economically weaker. And my father actually, at the start of his career, he used to go to an NGO, Manav Seva Sangh, where he used to conduct OPDs, free checkups, like very subsidized checkups, not free, sir, sorry, like 5 rupees or 10 rupees kind of fees.
Okay,
And
good, very good. Now you observe dogs' behavior. What are your observations?
so one is that since the dogs live in groups of 4 or 5, at the night time when they sleep, one of them becomes the watchdog, and the watchdog specifically sits at chaurahas or T-points where they can have better view. And so the second is that there's kind of first come first serve type of manners in dogs I've seen, that if when the dogs are fed in a utensil, then whoever comes first to the utensil is eating, and the other dog behind that first dog would not interfere in that. So, and the other dog will only come when the first dog has left. So that I've seen, sir. And so the third thing is that the mother-child relationship in dogs, I have observed that this first come first serve kind of manners is also taught by the mothers to their children, sir. So for example, when the mother is eating from the utensil, the children by default don't know such kind of manners of dogs, so they interfere, but the mother actually shoos away her own children.
Very interesting. So if a man starts behaving like a dog, will he become a better civil servant?
No, sir.
Why?
So because dogs,
These are wonderful traits which you don't so easily see. Man is killing a man for nothing. First kills, then he realizes there's no money in his pocket. There is not one negative thing that you said about dogs.
yes sir, but the wilderness the dogs have, and the lack of intellectual capabilities of dogs is what makes them lesser than humans, sir.
All right. But otherwise, there are a lot to learn from that, as I can see.
Some things can be.
Intellectual part is one,
Yes sir.
but in terms of self-discipline
Yes sir.
and need versus greed, right?
Yes sir.
Okay, you are the badminton captain of your school
Of
or
no,
IIT,
no sir, of my hostel
of
team,
your
sir.
hostel. There is a deciding match between your team and another team. You are the referee. It's the deciding point, and the other guy hits the shuttle out, and the shuttle falls right in front of you where you're sitting on top, you know. And you know that it is just a millimeter out. But if you called it in or out, it's in. It's just about touching the line. But nobody else would know. You know it because you're sitting right there. If you declare it out, your team wins. If you declare it in, the other team wins. What will you do?
So
Your decision will be taken because nobody is watching it from so closely.
yes sir.
There are no cameras.
So in this specific case, sir, categorically I will declare it in because the shuttle is, as you mentioned, in. And so I think that's because, should I give justifications?
Yeah.
Yes sir. So because I think in sports, rather than winning, sports person spirit is of prime importance, sir, and fairness. Sir.
Suppose you called it out. Would it hurt you for next few days?
Yes sir. Like
What?
there will be internal dissonance.
And that is called what?
So crisis of conscience.
Conscience. So when we talk of ethical dilemma, there are two ways to deal with ethical dilemma. One is conscience, where a person does it himself, so he won't do it. What is the other one? How do you force ethics? One
So
is
law.
Law. Okay. Environment is the very important subject today, and there is something called COP27. What is it, and what is India's position on climate change?
So COP27 is the conference of parties, that is refers to the congregation of the summit held by various nations under the UNFCCC. And so the India's position in COP27, sir, specifically, like India's position has been to push for climate finance from developed world and acknowledgement of CVDR, common but differentiated responsibilities, by the developed countries and the and the historical polluters. And so International Solar Alliance is also being pushed by India through that forum, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Harshit, what is quantum computing and what are its advantages over the regular normal computing?
Yes. So quantum computing makes use of quantum phenomena and quantum properties of matter to execute computational tasks, and its benefits over normal computers is the high degree of parallelism that we get. So for example, if we are able to develop enough powerful quantum computers, as in power in terms of qubits, we may be able to break RSA encryption. And in constructive terms, I think there are applications of in the field of proteins, rendering of proteins and then decoding their structures. So in that sense, in biotechnology and healthcare, it will also help, sir.
So has India already got quantum computers and quantum computing capability?
Yes, sir. To some extent there is. I'm not very sure, sir, of that, but there is a national quantum computing mission has been launched. But on the front of whether we have a quantum computer, I'm not very sure on that, sir.
Okay. But does it have a different processor, or what exactly? I mean, in very nut and bolt terms,
Yes, sir.
what exactly will be the different component as far as the computer is concerned? Any idea?
Yes, sir. In normal computers, like silicon chip is used, and but in quantum computers, it's not restricted to silicon. Like aluminium and some other metals can also be used, and there are different types of quantum properties that can be used. So for example, electron spin is one. So some quantum computers use electron spin to encode data, and
Okay.
others.
Can you tell me the earliest form of computer? The
Yes,
most
sir.
rudimentary form of computer?
Yes, sir. Alan Turing made it, sir. One was the Turing machine that he made to break the Enigma code.
Even before that,
Okay.
the first appearance of the idea of computing, and which country invented it?
Sorry, sir.
May I give you a hint? That country is our neighbor. The country is China,
Okay, sir.
and the equipment is abacus,
Okay, sir. Yes.
isn't it?
Yes, sir. I've used the abacus. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. What is generative AI and chat GPT,
Yes, sir.
and what are its advantages and disadvantages?
Yes, sir. Generative AI refers to, sir, those AI tools that can create new content, for example, music or videos, sir, and language and text, sir. So, and ChatGPT is the latest tool developed by, I think, DeepMinds, I'm not very sure, but it's a natural language processing tool based on AI, and it can perform various tasks like communication with humans and answering questions. And so its benefits are that it can help us improve our education system. So student specific tailor-made education can be given. And apart from other benefits, so the issues are the ethical issues, sir. For example, plagiarism is an issue that students make copy, they can feed assignment questions to ChatGPT, and those questions the assignments can be written by ChatGPT itself.
And it is not even telling from where it is drawing the information.
Yes, sir.
So you can't, there are no
Yes, sir.
quotations possible.
Yes, sir. Transparency and explainability is an issue, sir, from where it is.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Harshit,
Yes, ma'am.
have you heard about World Economic Forum?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is it happening this year?
I'm not sure, ma'am.
Okay,
Sorry.
what have you heard about World Economic Forum?
Ma'am, it's an international organization which conducts and research on various socio-economic parameters, and like, for example, the gender gap index is released by World Economic Forum, and various private organizations and governments are also parties to its conferences, and it's based in Geneva, Switzerland.
Okay. How will G20 benefit India? Hosting G20 benefit India?
It will firstly boost our the image of India as on the global stage, ma'am, and the South-South cooperation can be boosted. The agenda of developing nations can be pushed forward by India, and the burning issues like food security, energy security, and supply chain resilience can be improved, ma'am.
Will it help India become a leader in climate change?
Yes, ma'am. Climate negotiations can also be done on that platform, and for example, in terms of climate finance, India can push, and ma'am, boosting the once.
Harshit, what is green
rates.
financing?
Green financing refers to financing given for environmentally sustainable projects. For example, like the solar park. For example, if a company gives finance to establish solar parks, it would come under green financing. So anything that promotes green economy, financing those infrastructure and projects refers to green financing.
Tell me 3 biggest challenges that you think Indian economy is facing right now.
Ma'am, unemployment, high rates of unemployment, and poverty, ma'am, and low skill development. Like the skill certification level is quite low, ma'am, and I think, ma'am, energy security is also a big issue.
It's alright, you're from Haryana. Have you heard of this concept called Mol Ki Bahu, where they
Yes,
buy
ma'am.
out the bride? Why do men in Haryana need to buy out their brides?
Because of the poor sex ratio, ma'am.
Okay. How do you think we can solve this problem?
Ma'am, there are legal solutions. For example, the PCP and DT Act, and the government gives incentives to informers.
Why are these solutions not working?
They are working to some extent, ma'am. So, for example, in the NFHS 5 report, we see a jump of 50 to 57 points in the child sex ratio as well as the overall sex ratio, ma'am. But yes, the progress has been slow, but I think more steps can be taken. For example, the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Yojana, ma'am.
Can you name 3 women political leaders from Haryana?
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not able to recall right now. Sorry.
It's okay. You like cooking.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, when do I get to know that the eggs are boiled? Have you boiled eggs ever?
Eggs I don't boil, ma'am, but
Do you make rice?
yes, ma'am.
What is the quantity of water that you put while making rice?
So, ma'am, it's an approximation. I don't measure, but it's like half a finger should be. The water level should be above like half a finger over the water, over the rice level.
Do you
ma'am.
think cooking is an essential skill?
Yes, ma'am.
Should
That's.
we make it part of school curriculum for everyone since it's a life skill?
I think so, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, all right. You're from IIT Delhi. My last
ma'am.
question to you is that we see that IITs and IIMs are mushrooming everywhere in the country. Does it bother you? Do you think it dilutes the brand name of IITs?
There is, sorry, there is that side to it, ma'am. But I think overall it's better to establish more IITs because India needs more skilled and talented engineers as well as managers through IIMs. And I think, ma'am.
Do you mean more engineering colleges or do you mean more IITs?
Specifically establishing IITs ensures that the quality of engineers that are produced. So I'm in support of establishing new IITs and IIMs, and especially because there is very high competition in such in this field and the entrance exams and high incidence of student suicides. So I think, ma'am, in that sense, it's better to establish these, and it will eventually help us in national development, ma'am, and also IITians contribute to internationally.
Which is the best IIT in India?
There is annual ranking, ma'am. So they actually there is a competition between the top 3 IITs. So I don't know currently which is the best one, but the top 3 are IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, and IIT Madras.
Thank you.
Harshit, we'll take you to the waiting room for a while.
Yes,
Just wait there. We'll call you back for the
Okay,
quick feedback to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. May I come in, sir?
Come. Have a seat. Harshit.
Thank you, sir.
So, first of all, Harshit, I will tell you that this is the first time you are going for the interview.
In the UPSC, yes, sir.
Yeah. So you will not have to ask for the permission there. There will be an usher who will be opening the door for you, and you will simply walk into the room, and you will greet the lady member, and also the other members can be clubbed together also. Huh? So Harshit, when is your interview?
7th Feb, sir.
Okay. How many mocks have you attended so far?
I think 9, sir.
9 already. Okay. And how many more to go?
There's one after this. That's all I've planned until now, but I may plan.
More also.
Yes, sir.
Harshit, first of all, your own feedback as to how do you think you performed at this mock interview?
One is that I don't know why, but I was shaking somewhat, and
Nervous? Why are you nervous?
I don't know, so maybe I'm hungry. That's why.
Okay.
But overall, I think I don't know how I did.
Okay. So Harshit, your performance was very good, and you definitely your alertness is there, mental alertness. Your analytical skills are also fine. Balance of judgment is there, and you are in a position to think, and you are not trying to bluff at any point of time, which is also a good thing. So your communication skills, your clarity of thought, and your confidence, that was fine. Even the difficult questions, you were able to come out with very, very rational and logical, objective answers. There's only one thing, that since 25 minutes will be allotted to you around, so try to take as many questions as possible, and many of the questions, you can probably expand your answers also to some extent. I would not say that expand it too much, because then that will shorten number of questions also. So expand it slightly more so that it does not, it's not only yes and no justification. And whenever you give answers, always give examples. That will, it will do lot of good to your answers. It will be much more impressive. Then second thing which I would suggest to you, and this is not to say that you do not do that, but whenever you give answers, always give that part of the answer the first, which is the most important part. Okay. So then he will understand, the panel will understand that yes, he is aware about the most important part. And provocative questions, yes, if there are any provocative questions, there can be many. Always try to give the both sides of the picture, pros and cons. And if they insist on asking your opinion also, then link it to a court ruling if there is one, if there is a court judgment like demonetization, like Ayodhya, like hijab controversy. If there is none, then you should always follow the official line. So whether it is Central Vista project or Statue of Unity, should we have made any so much of expenditure there, or issues connected with reservation or Article 370 or citizenship register. So these are all topics in which there can be difference of opinion also. So here one should play safe. That is just by way of advice I am giving you, where your performance is very good, there is no doubt about it. Now coming to specific areas where I would like to suggest to you, since you are from Haryana, so the Haryana Controversial Act which was brought about for providing employment, reservation in employment, that is a question which often is asked. So you prepare both the sides of it, pros and cons. Second was the Baba thing which I asked you that question.
I have one question,
Yeah.
can I answer?
Yeah.
So in that, should I give the conclusion, the reservation question? If they ask what's your take,
You
whether
can
you
say that
support it
for
or not?
certain positions at a very, very low level, probably it may work. But for the senior levels, you have to have a pan-India selection process, because then you should get the best people in that industry. And secondly, if we put too many restrictions, then the industry will not come to our state, it will go to some other state. So you will balance it out. Yes, for the lower level employees, we can probably have people from Haryana only, so that it adds to the unemployment issue also. Then talking about Rohtak is a place which is known for many reasons, and they may ask you many questions on Rohtak. So study the Rohtak district very well. There is a Maharshi Dayanand University, there is a medical college, and it is part of it is falling in the NCR also, that is Bahadurgarh area. And there are many villages which are known to be very, very quarrelsome villages. I hope you are aware about their names, Chhara and Mandoti and many. So people who will be knowing Haryana, they will be probably able to, so they can ask these things also. But you say that the people of Rohtak are very simple, and it may appear, it give an impression that probably they are fighting, but actually they are very, very sweet to talk to. So talk about the positive things about, and then Haryana talk about many things which Haryana is strengths and weaknesses. I don't have to tell you, read any good book on Haryana, you will come to know about it. Then mathematics and computer science, obviously many questions will be asked. I asked you a very mundane question, what is the definition of algebra? So such kind of questions sometimes asked, what is geometry, what is arithmetic, what is hydrostatics, what is algebra? So understand the basic sometimes questions which are important. Sometimes simple question will be asked, you are standing at the on the ground and there is a mountain in front of you. How will you calculate the height of the mountain? Okay, by so you can only measure the angle. So you will use tangent and
trigonometry.
Yeah, so that will be there. And then of course Ramanujam and Hardy conversation in the hospital, the National Mathematics Day, theory of numbers and natural numbers, geometric progression, arithmetic progression, all those things connected with mathematics. What mathematics is going to bring to civil services if you get selected. So you say decision making, problem solving, analyzing the situation, mathematics will bring it to you. That is why it will be useful. Then computer science and engineering, the latest thing, some of the questions were asked to you, you were able to come out with very good answers also. So cyber piracy, cyber laws, Information Technology Act, and so there is a use of e-governance and computers for making the life of the citizen better. How it was used during COVID-19. So the e-learning, the COVID and the Arogya Setu, and then telemedicine, e-courts and fast tags and e-passes, OTT platforms, all these things related to the information communication technology, e-governance, you should prepare well. The future after COVID-19. Then many questions will be maybe asked about badminton, TT, cycling, whichever you have mentioned. So prepare information. Prominent people who are players and any player from India and also from your state if there is one. Hobbies, singing. So singing also sometimes they may ask you what kind of songs do you sing, whether it is classical, whether it is Bollywood songs and so on. Any particular singer of your choice, why do you like that singer? Elementary, but they can ask you. And feeding stray dogs, so that was very interesting thing which you said, which was very good answer which you gave. And I asked you that question that would you also be having the same value system? So when we talk about value, then understand what are the values required in a civil servant, prepare them well. Integrity in order of priority. So integrity, honesty, then efficiency, leadership, team building. Compassion, empathy would come, but that will be at the lower end. Then good governance principle. What are the principles?
Transparency.
Why? Yes. So transparency and accountability and consensus building. Understand every one of them. How will you use those good governance principles to improve the functioning of your office when you become a civil servant? How will you bring down the corruption? What are the ill effects of corruption to the economy of the country? That you should study well. What are the institutions to bring about probity in governance? So CAG, CBI, CVC, okay, and CIC. So these are the instruments. Lokpal. Role of NGOs, unofficial actors in policy. So, for example, the Lokpal was brought about, RTI was brought about because of intervention of an NGO. Then official actors, who are the official actors? So, it will be the legislature, the executive, the judiciary, then the political executive, particularly the Prime Minister, the other ministers, and the cabinet secretary, and similarly, so permanent executive and political executive, you should know. How a bill becomes an act, what is the role of president, what is the role of vice president, and the constitution read thoroughly, everything in constitution. Then economy of the country as it exists today, read what is fiscal policy, what is monetary policy, what is repo rate, what is reverse repo rate, what is the situation right now, what is reverse mortgage, these are some of the schemes for the for the senior citizens and other things, the effect on the economy. Do you think growth is important or inflation is important? So this question is often asked because growth is something what the government wants, the growth, and inflation is where RBI wants to bring down the inflation. So there is always a kind of
dialectic.
Yeah. So there is so understand that thing, and read the budget, the part of the budget in 7 points, and also economic survey of India.
Yes.
Go to the website of Niti Aayog and understand the role of the United Nations institutions. They play a very important part in the world order. Remember one thing, the public policy nowadays is of a nation is getting affected by the United Nations because they influence the public policy of a country. What is policy transfer? Citizen Charter came from United Kingdom as a policy transfer. And also understand the different stages of the public policy cycle. You must know that. Problem identification and so on. And one of course thing is why do you want to join civil service? Having done your computer science and engineering, you will have to give a very plausible reason for that. So identify the salient points, the salient uniqueness of the civil service. Why civil service attracts you? The leadership, diversification and part of the public policy, public governance and so on. Then I would like you to study the the relation to foreign policy of India, relations with the neighbors, why they are important, the historical background of our foreign policy, the relation with our neighbors on a historical basis, and also relation with China, United States and USSR, and the aftermath of Russia-Ukraine war. What will happen in case India is given the task of mediating between the two countries? What are the essential points that they will have to keep in mind? What is geopolitics? What is geoeconomics? Why it has come to occupy a very important place nowadays? What is the role of the groupings, the regional groupings of the countries and so on? And then corporate social responsibility, role of ethics and values in governance, and also the microfinance, Panchayati Raj institutions, and the role of the district officer, which is the collector. What are the different roles of the collector? So that's about it, and if you have any questions to ask.
There's one small question, sir, that sometimes there are kind of question like, should we promote women education? So obviously the answer is yes, but yes. Should I say yes and stop and wait for them to ask for my justification, or should I give justification?
You have to give an plausible explanation in support of your saying yes or no. So don't stop at yes and no. You have to give certain thing as an addition to that to justify your answer. And also give examples wherever possible. Give an example. Don't just say yes or no. That means that you are not in a position to take supplementary question. So you give the supplementary part also along with your main question. So that will give a better impression. Any other thing you have done? Anything you want to ask, you can ask.
No, sir, I don't think anything is like, if I think I'm being like, if the board member commits some factual mistake, I think, should I try to correct, or should I take the correct one? Okay. Because sometimes it happens.
Why create controversy?
Okay.
So it is better to just, but don't be argumentative. Don't get into the argument because on something which he has said and you don't agree to that, or factual mistake. Don't get into argument. You always say, put it that, yes sir, what you have said is definitely an important side to it, but sir, there is another side to it and I would like to mention it. That is a diplomatic way.
Thank you, sir.
All the best. You will do extremely well.
Thank you, sir.
Almost
Thank you,
outstanding.
Socks, same color socks as your black color socks.
हाँ जी ठीक है.
Fox बदलनी है.
हाँ जी.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.